Welcome back to another episode of the She Overcomes podcast, where we sit down with trailblazers, change makers, and visionaries who are shaping the future in their own unique ways. She Overcomes helps women overcome the imposter syndrome by connecting the biology and psychology of the female mind, body, soul, and spirit. Our passion is to inspire, equip, and raise up women to become their boldest selves, personally and professionally. I'm Melanie Rudd, your host and founder of She Overcomes. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today we have Kjiesta Moch. I'm going to read your bio because you are so BA.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Kjiesta Moch holds a Master of Education with a focus on educating educators from the University of North Dakota. And she's a dedicated mother, wife, and advocate for mental and physical health. She is a multi-faceted leader, combining her professional expertise, personal experiences, and passion for helping others into a life of purpose and impact. Her entrepreneurial spirit was lit when she launched the Social Renegade, which I love the brand, so we're going to have to talk about that, a social media and management business in early 2024. Being a certified cycling instructor at Ride Cycle Studio, she can lead you through a class that will be sure to challenge you both physically and mentally. In her role as Mrs. North Dakota International 2024, Kjiesta uses her platform to promote mental health awareness, self-compassion, and suicide prevention. Drawing from her own struggles with anxiety and depression, she inspires others to find hope and courage in their journey. As a mindfulness facilitator and coach trained by Mindful Healing and Consulting, Kjiesta helps individuals and groups cultivate awareness, resilience, and inner peace. Is there anything you don't do, Kjiesta?
I would say learn how to rest. But I actually, so when you started out that, I was like, wait a second, I actually do have a master's in education. I taught fifth grade for many years, and I kind of blanked that part out of my life.
Yeah. Well, and I actually, you didn't even have it in your bio.
That's what I mean. I kind of just forget it was a part of my life. And it was a big part of my life. I mean, I spent a lot of years at UND and a lot of money.
A lot of money. Thank you, UND, the sponsor of this. No, I'm just kidding. But
absolutely.
No, but actually you can. UND,
Shameless
whenever you're
plug.
ready. But I added that because you didn't have it in your bio. And when I read it, and I don't know if I just was creeping your LinkedIn, and because honestly, I feel like I know Kjiesta as Mrs. North Dakota International. I know Ride Cycle, Kjiesta, and Social Renegade. But when I creeped you out, I was like, girl, you got smarts. You have a lot of education behind that. And I have a sister who has her master's, and I'm like, that was a lot of work to get that. And also there's a skill set behind that.
Absolutely.
Especially as someone who educates educators. And so anyhow, that's
well, the
crazy.
fun part is I was actually accepted to a program, and there was only one person in North Dakota selected for that program.
Oh my gosh.
And it was, I co-taught with a fifth grade teacher alongside getting my master's. So not only was I getting my master's degree in 15 months, I taught full time as well. So it was, I mean, that's really where I just learned grit is how you get through things. And my parents were actually going through a pretty terrible divorce at the time. I had just met my now husband. So I mean, my life was in just a total transition time that I literally think I blacked out most of it, which is why I never put it in my bio. Right. And my master's in education, I really just use that on my children now.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, well, we can step back and read this way.
Yeah.
And my husband will often say stuff, and I'm like, no. Yeah. I actually am an expert in this. So
right.
Leave me alone, please. But I don't ever include it, and I maybe should.
Maybe. I mean,
maybe
it's
a little bit.
but I mean, maybe a little bit. But okay. So, the way that I met you was, I mean, we know I was Mrs. North Dakota in 2020, which was the best year to be Mrs. North Dakota International 2020. And then year 24. And I feel like that was my first connection to you. And we had some similarities in our process of becoming Mrs. North Dakota, but I would love to hear about your process.
Well, really, I was asked the year before by our friend Misty. Mm-hmm. And during that time, I had recently found out that the dad who raised me was not my biological dad.
Yes.
And so that big shift in my like identity and my mindset, I was like crying randomly. I couldn't put a sentence together. I was like, maybe this isn't the year to be a beauty queen. So let's not do this. And so the following year, then I had applied, interviewed with the owner of the pageant, Mary Richardson, and then was selected as Mrs. North Dakota. And I remember going home to my husband saying, hey, so by the way, did this and I got picked. So you're Mr. North Dakota. Yay. Like sometimes I just do things in the background because I don't have a lot of faith in myself to do things. And that's that imposter syndrome and all the, the I'm just going to try this and maybe it'll stick. And then I got it. I was like, Jason, we get to go to Tennessee for a week.
Whoops. Right.
So totally an accident, really. But just with the encouragement of all of you past Mrs. North Dakotas, I could never have done it without that help and support. So.
Oh, well, I don't even feel like, I feel like I don't hardly do anything with it. I need to probably step up my game, to be honest. But I founded She Overcomes because of that.
100%.
Like I just, because I remember I had met with Janelle, who formerly had owned it, and I just remember her. I was intrigued by the conversation, and when I met with her, I was concerned about like a beauty pageant, like that feels kind of cringe to me in a sense. And then she's like, "Well, actually, this is about platform. This is about who can you help, and if you had a broader platform, who would you help?" And that was the founding of She Overcomes. And then I accidentally won. And then I was like, oh, I guess we're doing this.
I mean, that's kind of how it happens for us North Dakota girls who are like, oh, not me. I'm not a beauty queen. And like, actually, I've got a voice. Let's do this and let's use our platform for the greater good. And that was really my draw to that system particularly was it's not just philanthropic. It's not just we're going to go out and do good, which, great also for everybody, for everyone. Yeah. But I had a purpose and God led me to that platform for a specific reason. Yeah. And I did the best I could for 365 days. Yeah. All making sure that I didn't wear my crown and sash unless I had to. It was weird. Like it was actually the best way to get into schools. And that was the number one thing I wanted to do was go talk to young people and make sure they know that they have a purpose and they're valued. You can't really go like preach about Jesus in public schools. Yeah, but in a shifty way you can. Yeah. And I was actually invited to an 8th grade Bible study at Heritage Middle School here in West Fargo I love that. From that experience. Yeah. And then I'm now connected to high school girls who want to learn more about faith. So it's opened doors that I actually didn't expect it to open. Right. And like you, I started my business in 2024 because, hey, why not?
Why not? Yeah.
Why not do more?
Let's do all of the things and then see what sticks.
100%.
So let's actually talk about that because you had written, and you and I have talked about that, but some people just keep their identity crises to like, let's buy a new car or let's get a divorce, but not you.
No.
You discovered your family was not what you thought your family was. Like, I will say this. I did find out, I had a similar, but definitely not the same experience. And so I love to hear you talk a little bit about that and how that impacted your identity, because your identity is like, our identities are this is a quote actually before we go into it from The Incredibles. Did you watch The Incredibles?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's my favorite. In 1 and 2. The mom in The Incredibles hands her 2 kids in this particular scene. She hands them their masks and she said, put this on your face and guard your identity because it's the most valuable thing you have. Mm-hmm. Like it's such a powerful statement in the middle of this children's show that I honestly am like, Elastigirl, we need this on mugs,
100%.
So like the guarding of identity, because it is our most, it's the most important valued treasure we have. So tell me, how did that impact you then in this season of your life to discover you maybe weren't who you were, or your family wasn't who you thought?
It really, it shook me for longer than I wanted it to. I found out, so I got an Instagram message from my biological dad's wife. Okay. And they've been married for 25 years. So, I'm 34. So most of their marriage, they've known about me. Huh. Their whole marriage, they've known about me. Yeah.
Because apparently he's a truth teller. Great.
Exactly, right? I deserve to know things. And they found out about me about 10 years prior. So I did a mission trip when I was student teaching in college
Okay.
to Dominican Republic to build a
Yeah.
school. During
Awesome.
that, we got to go YouTube live and talk about our stuff.
Yeah.
They had found me on YouTube because how many Kjiestas are there?
Yeah. It's very,
One.
Yeah. Very specific name.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
And so they had followed my life. And in 2020, I had just a mental health crisis, really brought me to my faith.
Yeah.
And then through those couple of years, they had reached out after that just saying, hey, you seem like a really level-headed Christian woman. I was like, okay, thank you for that.
Oh,
But we want you to know this. And I was like, I actually just responded, I don't fall for Instagram scams.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh,
But
yeah.
eventually, about 30 minutes later, they were sending me pictures. And it was my husband's birthday.
Oh,
He was
my
in
gosh.
Minneapolis.
Yeah.
And so God really built me to deal with a lot of things by myself.
Yeah.
And that's what
Yeah.
I've learned is I can lean on him specifically and
Yeah.
alone to get
Yeah.
through things.
Yeah.
Because then there's pictures coming through of my mom and myself as a baby and then this, at that time, stranger.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I did is I sent that picture to my parents.
Yeah.
And I said, who is this?
Yeah. Do tell.
Someone tell me who this is.
Yeah.
My dad had actually just called me immediately and said, I need to tell you something that's very hard.
Oh, wow.
Most
Yeah.
of that conversation I don't remember. I
Yeah.
vividly remember I just got my kids to bed and
Yeah.
I fell to the floor. I literally hurt my knees. I fell so hard.
Yeah.
And I just started crying, like saying,
Yeah.
no, this can't be real. This is not my life. Like
Right.
I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
good with what I've got.
Yeah.
And I'm actually not. I have a beautiful family that we've been to Pittsburgh. We've met them. So I have a
Wow.
biological
Yeah.
dad, 2 living grandparents. Because
Wow.
at that time, all my grandparents who I'd known as grandparents were deceased.
Yeah.
So now I have 5 more.
Yeah.
My kids actually joke about like next time we get a grandma, and I'm like, that's not how it works. But actually, it
you
is.
get a grandma.
It is
You,
like that.
Oprah totally impacted your life.
Because
Okay,
my
yeah.
husband is fortunate enough to have 3 sets of in-laws. Because my
Wow.
parents are
Yeah, yeah,
divorced,
yeah.
and then we have the biological
Okay.
family. So
Yeah.
yeah, we've
so
got
many.
family coming out our ears, and we're excited about it. But for about
Yeah.
a year, I was like, wait a second. Looking back on my past, was I treated differently because I wasn't yours?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
did you
second
treat
guess
my
all of that?
Yeah, did you treat my brothers like this because I wasn't like directly? We're half siblings.
Sure. Yeah.
They both had reached out and just said, this doesn't change our relationship, which is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
But for me, it changed a lot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it took me a while to go back and to say, you know what, whatever happened, and the past is the
Sure.
past. Let's just move forward with one step in front of the other. And that's the best way we can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. It's so amazing. And I remember when I had found out I had only have siblings, like I thought I had 2 full blood sisters, and then I had found out that they were not. It was a journey. Like it was very much of a second guessing process. It's like, oh my gosh, now like the way that I felt here makes sense. Or, I was just like I adore and worship my 2 older sisters and compared myself to them my whole life.
Yeah.
And it started to shift like, oh, like there's like different DNA in them.
Yep.
All of these comparisons, all of these fears, all of these, why am I not like her this way? Or why am I not like her? It made sense, but it also made me so sad.
Absolutely. 'Cause
it was-
it's like
yeah.
it's like a break in the relationship.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
even though they sent that text message, right?
Yeah.
Nothing changes.
Nothing
Actually,
changes.
a lot does change.
Yeah.
And it did change.
Yeah.
And just to talk through that with them was very difficult. But
Right.
we keep having those hard conversations and get through it.
Yeah.
But just
Yeah.
like you, it was why do I come home with straight A's? I'm actually a very, very intelligent person.
Yeah,
and
no,
my,
like we could see that.
my parents would pay my brothers to come home with like straight C's.
Right.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, dude, where
Yeah.
like I get free Taco John's for bringing home these A's, and you're
Yeah.
paying them to get C's.
Yeah.
Like Taco John's, bring that back, please. And like where was that
Yeah.
love for me? And it not that
Yeah,
they
it
didn't
was
love me,
different,
it was
yeah.
the expectation,
Yeah,
and the expectation was a dirty little secret they were hiding,
Right. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that was theirs to tell, and they actually never told it. I found
Right.
out. So,
Yeah.
booyah.
Yeah. Well, okay, so let's talk a little bit about, like I do feel like your story and just like the things that you've encountered in life. You're such an overcomer. There's so many things that you have experienced. So like you had mentioned postpartum depression.
Yep.
And that diagnosis. And I don't think that we talk enough about women's hormones. I don't think we talk enough about women's health. I was actually just looking at this article by this doctor on Instagram,
Of course.
because that's where I'm
Our
finding
main source.
Yeah, my main source. Like, you can tell I'm a middle-aged mom. Like, but it's actually what has helped motivate some of the work that I'm doing is that, like, we don't have information and we don't have complete information. And so we're treating women differently than men because we actually just don't do science in there. It's, female science is whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
I won't go down that whole thing, but so many women have had postpartum. Like, what was that process like for you in 2018? And like, what was your experience around that?
Yeah, so my kids were born in 2016 and 2017. So
Okay.
they're 15
Boom,
months
boom.
apart.
Yes.
Yeah, so I got married in 2015. Charlotte was born in 2016. Jameson was born in 2017.
Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So by the time I felt like I could come up for air, I realized, like, whoa, I'm not myself. I'm really kind of mean to people.
Yeah.
And I don't like being around people, which is not like me. I'm an extreme extrovert. I get my energy from other people and I thrive on that.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to be out with anybody. I didn't want to leave my children out of just straight fear that no one could take care of them the way I did.
Right.
And it was a close friend who said, I'm just going to say this out of love, but you aren't yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering what's going on.
Yeah.
And so then, I make that shameful doctor's appointment and go in and just say, hey, I don't feel good, blah, blah, blah. And then I was put on medication, which did kind of make the fog go away.
Sure.
And then I realized that, hormone imbalance. And there are natural ways that you can come out of this.
Yeah.
So I've been off my medication for a few years now.
Yeah.
And not that it's a bad thing or good thing to be
No.
on. You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
At the
it's
time,
there.
I very much needed it to get through because I had 2 babies at the same time.
Right.
I mean, literally
That's-
2 in diapers, 2 in bottles. Charlotte, luckily, was a quick potty trained girl and she was a helper. And but then there's also that, what am I putting the pressure on my 15-month-old to help me do things?
Sure.
And so there's that just mental,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say the word because, we're being recorded. But it was just like such a mind block to try to get through those thoughts and things. And my husband kept saying, no, you're like, we're fine. You're good. We're fine.
Yeah.
Like, I am not fine.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'm really struggling.
Yeah.
And then about a year and a half later, COVID happened.
Yeah.
And that's something that was way harder than I thought.
Yeah.
Because again, we got taken away from everybody.
Yep.
And things. And during that, I had attempted to end my own life.
Yeah.
And for that was the lowest low that, you can experience and then live through with mental health. Mm-hmm. And that's really when I found my faith and was like, wait, why am I here?
Yeah.
I'm going to go shout this from the rooftops. I'm going to say postpartum depression is okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there are reasons that it's a diagnosis. There's a reason that there's things to help you with it.
Right.
And so my mother-in-law at the time had worked very high up in Sanford.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to her and I just said, you know what? Women's health and the 6-week appointment where they say, how are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm fine. I'm great. I love my baby.
Yeah.
No. We need to check in with them 6 months, a year later. So the advancement in women's health, especially with the mental health and postpartum, has come so far in that past 5 years. So I'm just nothing but grateful that I have a loud voice I'm not afraid to use because it is slowly changing systems.
What do you say to the woman who doesn't maybe trust her gut, or maybe she's like, I feel like we gaslight ourselves a lot. We're like, oh, it's not that. And I feel especially that Midwestern women do. It's not that bad. It's okay. It's not as bad as what my mom or my grandma, or you know what I mean? And so to the woman who maybe doesn't feel confident to go in and advocate, what's one micro step she can take towards advocating for herself when she's not okay?
Tell anybody. I mean, I was hiding it from my own husband in my own house.
Yeah.
I'm fine. I'm good. So even just to open up to a close, trusted family member or friend, and that's the first step because maybe they're going to be your advocate. Right. Or maybe just saying it to one person is what you needed to have the courage then to go tell somebody else.
Yeah.
So see something, say something is something I'm going to preach till I'm dead.
Right.
So if you see it in yourself, just speak it out loud.
Yeah.
Just once.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll get easier.
Oh, I love that. So then, actually, I wanted to talk about this. So I'm so grateful that you're in the Becoming Bold program. And of course today, I usually dress up a little more, but today I'm repping our new merch.
I love it.
So bold. Yeah. The side note, the guy who dropped it off yesterday, I'm like, what do you think? And he's this sweet old man. It's a family run company out of Rosse. And he's like, well, it's bold.
Well, hey, you gotta make a statement. And so my business brand colors, one of them is that bright pink.
Really? Yeah.
It started out being beige and white and tan.
Yeah.
And I had a friend who said, you're not made to just blend in. So let's stand out. And so, no, I love it. It looks so good.
Do you know, thank you. Thank you so much. I have a friend, when I did interior design, I have this friend and he always decorates, not always, but he decorates in like very monochromatic creams. And it's so beautiful. And I love him and I love his work. But I'm just like, I can't.
Where's the color? Like,
yeah, I know.
Look at this.
Yeah.
My phone and my water bottle right now is bright pink. I mean, don't blend in.
But you had talked about feeling like an imposter, but it's funny because the women I work with, they're like, not one of them ever makes me think, like, they're all high producers. They're all very well educated and sometimes very well overeducated.
Yes.
They're all like, I feel like many of them are like serial entrepreneurs, or they're running multiple things within an organization. They're the ones who, even my sister, Jordan, like identified as an obvious leader who, they're training people more quickly. And so I wanted to ask you this because it's, as someone who's going through the program, what does becoming bold mean to you? Because on the outside, it looks like you're killing it. Why would you be a part of what we're doing?
It would just be that the shame that comes along with my story.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shame in that. There's a lot of shame in being duped out of like who my parents were.
Sure.
It wasn't my fault, but it's still shameful.
Right.
2020, I mean, suicide attempts, like no one wants to talk about that. It took me a full year to even tell my family.
Yeah.
My husband and I were like, wait, what's happening? Mental illness, not fun to talk about.
Yeah. I know.
All these different things. I went to school to be a teacher. I'm not a teacher.
Well, like, you're educating. You're definitely educating. It's not maybe the traditional linear route.
Yeah, but it's all those little things that I'm like, why am I gifted all these things? I have a beautiful family. We just bought a new house. Like I have this awesome life. But why me?
Yeah.
And that's the basis of it. And going through your program has said, wait, here's your values.
Yeah.
If you're living by your values and you're trusting yourself and you're going to say the things you need to say to the people you need to say it with empathy and love, then hey, be your bold self and keep going.
Yeah.
And this past, I would say 2-3 weeks, I've been way more outspoken and bold on my social media because, hey,
good.
I got to be bold in order to just say the things that people need to hear.
Yeah.
And it was placed in my life and on my heart for that reason.
Yeah.
So really just getting the courage from the group and you.
Yeah.
And maybe the better way to do it than just blasting it on social media, but to have those hard conversations with close people.
Yeah.
And you and I have talked about that. Like I've had some hard conversations in my life lately, but I've done it in a nice, courteous, respectful way because through your program, that's what we're learning to do.
Oh, I feel almost stupid for making you answer that. Like I did not tell. Thank you so much for saying all that.
No, I mean, I actually texted you after the last thing because this was something I really needed that day in my life.
Yeah.
Boom. Transformation in my relationship. Done.
Right.
And now we got to move forward and it's just, honestly, it's back to normal.
Right.
So having one hard conversation
really
that you trained us on how to do,
thank you.
2 hours of my life and 2 hours of your life, way more than 2 hours. You have to prep everything and print everything and get it all ready. But I mean, that's changing not my life, but my friend's life and all those other people around me.
Well, and I think the thing that I do love about you and why I'm so grateful that you're part of that journey with me even is that, like, I think we can engage in conflict. So there's the extroverts and there's like the D's and, on a disc, you're pretty high D, right?
Extreme high.
Extreme high, yeah.
If I can be in charge, I will be in charge.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So you're a natural leader, like that you just have it. But anyway, like I think that there's high producing leaders, and sometimes we forget that connection is actually what we're protecting. So like you can have a voice on social media and be a total jerk and just polarize everyone you talk to and feel like, oh, I'm bold, I'm proud of that. Like, well, should you be?
Well, exactly.
Or there's like the opposite. And I actually I'm the opposite. I am so terrified of conflict. I'll shake. Like I have to really like summon the spirit of the Lord inside of me. I was telling somebody about that the other day. But like I have to summon something because I don't handle conflict well. I am so averse to it. And so it takes a lot out of me to prepare for it. And there's this merging and meeting of the two where it's like, okay, how do you engage in a way where you're not trying to maybe tell someone that I'm right, you're wrong, but it's all about connection.
Yeah.
How do we remain connected and protect our relationship over this conflict? And I've done it really, really well, and I've done it so bad.
100%. And
you know, like,
it depends on the situation you're in, the person that it is.
Totally.
I mean, the closer that they are, I think the harder that it is.
For sure.
I mean,
for sure.
To get through it's like family members.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Yeah.
I'd rather like ignore you for 5 years than have a conversation sometimes.
Yeah.
But that isn't what I want to do. And that's actually what I was doing to a lot of people, was saying, whoa, you hurt me. Goodbye.
Bye. Right. Yeah. Just writing them off.
And that's not fair, not only to me, but to them.
Right.
Not that I think that they deserve more than what I'm able to give them.
Yeah.
But they deserve a chance to talk to me and explain or state their case, or I don't know, they're not fighting for anything, but I would love to hear what you have to say, because then maybe we can talk through it versus me just ignoring you for the rest of my life.
Totally. And I think I've accidentally ghosted people out of fear.
Well, yeah.
You know, like I haven't meant to, but I realize in hindsight, in retrospect, I've been able to look back and see like, wow, that was so unfair of me to withhold that from them, because I was so afraid of it. I ghosted, and that's not who I want to be. But, you know, and then it's just like, how do you like, you know, and I've with a few people, I've tried to like reconcile that. And sometimes that's worked. And actually sometimes it's just like, all right, no.
Well,
you know,
and the conversation that you and I had a conversation about in this training.
Yeah.
That one was where the other person involved said, I didn't want to have this conversation because you have the power to walk away from me.
Yeah.
And then I started crying. I'm like, whoa, why would I want to walk away? I'm the one who's here having this hard conversation.
Right.
There's another looming conversation that I have yet to have with someone close in my life. And honestly, I'm just like, let them be who they want to be.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep doing what I want to do. And when the time is right, maybe we'll have that conversation. But for now, distance is the right thing.
Yeah.
So it just depends on the scenario and the person.
Yeah.
And how hurtful that they can and will be towards you.
Yeah.
Because is it out of love and connection for that other person too.
Yeah.
I knew that one of these would come out the way I was expecting it to.
Yeah.
The other one, I'm not sure that I ever want to step my feet into that pool.
Yeah.
One day maybe, but for now, I'm okay where I'm at.
Yeah. Yeah. And knowing your season.
Yeah.
I really am such a seasonal person. Like knowing your season, knowing when it's time, and being able to like identify like, where am I at in this?
100%.
and where are they at? And sometimes it matters and sometimes it kind of doesn't. But, yeah. So let's talk about, as you know, as we're talking about being on social media, talk about the Social Renegade, like of your new business and the launching of that.
So that
in
actually,
a big year.
Yeah, I just was like, hey, I'm a beauty queen. Let's just do something else on the side. Why not on the side? In 2018, I started selling Limelight by Alcone makeup and skincare.
Yep.
And I did that in the midst of that postpartum. Like, wait, Jason, I got to go do a Facebook Live for 20 minutes. You got to take the kids.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was a break.
Yeah.
It started out as just a break from life.
Yeah.
And just to feel beautiful. Like, oh,
right.
I put this makeup on and I feel so good.
Right.
And through that experience, I had to really learn how to engage on social media and how to sell things on social media.
Yeah.
And I was pretty darn good at it.
Yeah.
And I started to sell a lot. And we went on vacations where I used that money to pay for.
That's
we
amazing.
bought a hot tub in January 2020. Talk about amazing timing.
Oh, yeah, no kidding.
Go work from home for 6 months. Okay, I'll work from my hot tub then. Fine.
Yeah.
So all of those things. And to learn how to do social media so well was just a gift to me. And for about 3 years, actually, I was like, Jason, I should probably do this.
Yeah.
I should do this. People will pay me to do this. I had friends asking me, can you draft my content for me? I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
And then my husband's like, you need to start getting paid for this.
Yeah.
You're
a professional volunteer.
Yeah, you're like wasting all your time and energy on something that you're not even getting anything back for. Right. Sometimes not even a thank you.
Oh,
I'm like, whoa, you're so right.
Yeah.
And so, in April, on April 18th, I was like, hey, let's just sign up with the state and start doing this. Yeah. And since then, I've gained 5 clients. that income is set aside, and that's kind of our fun money, I would say. Yeah. But it is my goal to have that be my full-time job. Yeah. And the name, the Social Renegade, is a renegade comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk about someone who went to school for education, is a beauty queen, a cycling instructor. Why is she doing this? I really came out of nowhere.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm good at it.
Yeah.
And I'm actually really, really skilled in that social media learning. I mean, just learning.
Right.
That's the basis. But some people don't have time.
Right.
And that's the gift I can bring to local businesses. And I mean, influencing is something else that came out of that, where businesses would reach out and say, hey, try this product or come to our service, talk about it on your social media because you have people that follow you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Right. Oh, I love that. And also I think also like as a small business owner, I don't particularly love social media. Like and I think here's why. I think it's because at times I have connected my identity to it in a way that was validating me. And so when like someone wasn't following or when someone wasn't liking, I would like feel hurt or you know what I mean? Like I don't know if everyone does that. I just know for me, like, cause I've started some new businesses, I've started some new things and I'm just assume everybody's going to want to follow or like, or support. And then you realize, oh, they don't want that. And that's okay. But I think I had to kind of go through like a season of like depersonalizing that to recognize, and I know I'm in my 40s. I should know that, but you just kind of get sucked into it. And so for me, it's almost like my mental health. I've had to kind of back up.
100%. Yeah.
You know,
and that's not only is it saving them time and energy, it's also saving them that.
Right.
If you're a small business owner, one of my I have a plumber who's a client.
Yeah.
And he went to my high school.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the things was I have my friends are not even following my business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, maybe their dad owns a plumbing company.
Right. Yeah.
Like we got to give the benefit of the doubt to some people and positive intent.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't like you. Like maybe they don't like you.
Coming from a D on the disc.
Right? I know. I'm like, and God made me direct and bold and blunt for a reason. And that's why, because maybe they don't like you. And you know what? Why are you wasting your time on someone who's not going to come to your services?
Yeah.
There's a million people on social media.
100%.
And there's thousands in the local area.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why focus your time and energy on one?
Right.
When the other 1,000 who are following you and appreciating you.
Yeah.
But if you can't handle that, distance yourself from it.
Disengage. You know, it's so funny. I had a dream, and actually this was more recent than I probably want to admit, but I had a dream. And in my dream, there were some people all sitting at this table, and I was sitting at this table with them. And I was sparing you details, but also there's some privacy in that. But and in the dream, someone offered me these tiny little crumbs. And I was like, oh, thanks. It was like a wafer size, some like crumbs or whatever from their table. And I was like, I guess thank you, you know? So then I like went to get it. And she goes, don't eat all of that.
But my question is, why did you say thank you?
It was a dream.
I don't care. In your dream, why are you saying thank you to crumbs?
Oh, thank you for those crumbs. Oh. And then when she said that to me, I was like, I don't actually think this is a table I want to seat at.
There you go.
And I set it down and I left. And it was like such an empowering dream. And I woke up and there's a few more things that happened after it. And I'm such a dream person that I was like, actually, thank you, God. Because I think I needed that. I think I needed to realize like that this table was a table that I was like defining myself from. And so often and that's how it, I like kind of relate to this stuff in social media. And then I was just like, oh, I actually don't even want to seat at that table.
Yeah.
I'm moving in a really different direction. And there's peace in that, but it's like, it takes a while sometimes to detach yourself,
I'd say more than a while for sure, because some people that you view as should appreciate you, should love you, should. And then why are we all shoulding on ourselves?
Right.
Because I actually saw a quote the other day and it said, if there's not a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. And I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll bring the folding chair because then I can fold it back up and walk away.
Right.
But if there's not a seat at the table, then just go find another table.
Go find another table.
It's like the lunchroom in high school all over again, or not high school, maybe middle school.
Yeah.
When there's not a seat at the table, you're crushed inside.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah.
And why do we bring our 30, 40-year-old selves back to that middle school lunchroom?
Right. Yeah.
We deserve way more than that because look what we've all done. And let's go find a new table with people that are going to speak life into us.
Right.
And that's the gift that we get to bring to others too.
So when I had asked you a little bit about like why this is your bold era, you had talked about not fearing opinions of other people. When I talk to you, it sounds like you don't care. Do you care?
No. I like.
I love that it didn't even. Can I just say like, if you're watching, like she's like, no hesitation. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're totally fine. And that's like, I spent so much of my life caring about what other people thought of me.
Yeah.
And I grew up in the Air Force.
I did not know that.
So yeah,
Oh
my
gosh.
dad was in the military for 23 years.
So
yeah,
oh
my
gosh.
dad was in the military for 23 years.
Oh wow.
So I was born on Minot Air Force Base, then moved to Germany.
Okay.
Then moved back to Minot.
Okay.
Then moved to Italy.
Wow.
So I lived in Italy for 4 years. I was 8 till I was 12. Amazing.
Yeah.
But I wasn't who I was. I was never who I thought I should be. I
guess. You were becoming whatever.
I was exactly that. I was becoming whatever.
Right.
Not becoming bold. I was becoming whatever that person was wearing or that person was eating or they like sparkling water. So I like sparkling water. I hate sparkling water. Like, why am I drinking this stuff? And all of these different things that I was choosing to do were not what I wanted to do.
Right.
Came back to Minot in middle school. Ugh. What? So not only was I entering middle school, I was entering middle school as an outsider.
Right. Yeah.
That was excruciating.
Yeah.
Then I got into a relationship in high school, end of middle school, high school, lasted through college. Mm-hmm. Terribly, terribly toxic. Yeah. I would do anything for that person.
Sure.
And he would be like, no, I'm good. Today I'm going to have my friends.
Yeah. Breadcrumbs.
Okay. Yeah.
Breadcrumbs.
But I followed the trail of breadcrumbs.
Right. Yeah.
Every single day, all the time.
Yeah.
Until one day I literally was like, wait, why am I doing this?
Right. Yeah.
And I was in college and I vividly remember the day because I was like, I need you to come over here.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? This is over because you don't treat me the way I should be treated.
Yeah.
And at the time, my roommates, they were like, Kjiesta, what is going on?
Yeah.
Why are you allowing this stuff? You're an amazing person. So again, having people around you that are going to speak life into you is so important because then I realized, wait, I deserve amazing things.
Yeah.
And then I found my now husband and he's my amazing thing.
Oh,
and so those little tiny things, growing up without my identity actually knowing what it was, allowed me to find it in college and apply for all these programs and graduate and oh, let's go back to school for another year and a half and let's do this and that and this and that. And those decisions were not made lightly.
Right.
They were made I'm a quick decision maker.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to say yes to it and please don't ask me again because I'm going to say yes again and now you're wasting my time. It's like when my husband says, where do you want to go to dinner?
Yeah.
Like the tavern.
Yeah.
Well, okay, are you sure? I'm like, whoa. It's either the tavern or you pick.
Right.
Come on, man.
Right.
So I'm just a decision maker and I want to keep going because I wasted so much of my life letting other people decide for me.
Yeah. Oh, what do you think? Like, how did you get there? Well, so as I feel like, because I feel like you and I are like strangely like polar opposites because I am such a people pleaser. Mm-hmm. What would you say to the people pleaser who's like trying to, and not like when we talk about bold, like it's not, I love this sweatshirt, but becoming bold is really about little tiny steps. Mm-hmm. It's choosing not to agree with the microaggressions we do every single day. They're little tiny steps. It's not like, bam, I've arrived.
Well, yeah, and there's still certain days that I'm still struggling.
100%.
Like depression and anxiety don't just go away overnight.
Right.
So there are some days I wake up and I'm like, oh,
yeah,
who do I want to be today?
Yeah.
And just kind of muddle through that day. And that's just one day.
Right.
And that's really the advice I give to most people is it's just one day.
Just
the next day you get to decide who do you want to please. But if you're looking in the mirror and that's not your first answer, then why not?
To people who feel selfish or who feel like I'm in the faith community, I totally I 1000% agree with servant leadership. Mm-hmm. Sometimes though, servant leadership, that like the back end of it, like the weakness of it, is that we feel noble serving other people and abandoning ourselves. Mm-hmm. How have you been able to make that transition from, in a sense, or maybe you never did, but that no, you did. You just said you did. Mm-hmm. The self-abandonment of I'll do whatever it takes to please you to actually know I need to be honest and true to myself. Yeah. Like, what was that for you?
I would say it was 2020. I mean,
really?
Like, not believing that I deserved to be on this earth.
Yeah.
And then the next day being here was like, whoa. So that was not a quick journey. That was probably the slowest journey of my life. And I roll my eyes because it's like, that took forever.
Yeah.
But it took forever for a reason because I was like,
you have
wait.
to have that process.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was like, why am I actually here? What do I want to do with my life? Yeah. Who do I want to be? Yeah. And since then, a lot of relationships of mine have ended.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And that's okay.
For a while, I was like, but I want you to like me.
Yeah.
Who should I be for you to like me?
Yeah.
Actually, if you don't like me, that's okay.
Yeah. Right.
You probably just don't like yourself enough to come forward and have the conversation with me.
Right.
And that's where our insecurities, we project them on other people so quickly.
Totally. Yeah.
And that's where you have to start, is digging into your own insecurities, because I didn't ever believe I was a beautiful person.
Really?
So
That's crazy. Yeah.
there was a time in college, there was 8 of us women around a table, and a guy came up and he was trying to hit on 2 of my friends.
Yeah.
And, being who I am, I was like, no one here wants you to talk to them.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so rude, I know. But also, like, no one wants you here. And he looked at me and said, you're the ugliest person at this table.
Wow.
Why do you think you can talk to me like that? Whoa, okay.
Whoa.
I don't care how ugly you think I am.
Yeah.
Still nobody wants you here.
Yeah.
Walk away. So then all my friends were like, oh my God, yes, you're blah, blah, blah. No. I'm like, that's fine. But it wasn't fine. Internally, I was like, he's right. I have beautiful friends. I am ugly, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But it was my insides that were ugly.
Yeah.
And then here I was beauty queen. I mean,
right. I know. Isn't that
obviously I'm sort of pretty because
I don't suck.
Yeah, I don't totally suck, and I'm not super ugly. But some of that was, I remember that so vividly for a reason, because it was like, whoa, maybe I need uglier friends. No. Maybe I just need to believe that I am a beautiful person.
Right.
Whether people around me believe it or not, I need to believe in that. And then I was gifted a daughter.
Yeah.
Who then teaches me,
Yeah.
wait a second.
Yeah.
Would you say the things you're saying to yourself to her?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And I constantly actually have to remind her, no, you don't need makeup. She's 8 and she loves to wear a full face of makeup. I'm like, nope, go wash it off.
Yeah.
Take it off.
Yeah.
You're beautiful. You have freckles. She has a little birthmark between her eyebrow.
Yeah.
And even this morning we're talking about it. And it's like, no, God made you that way for a reason.
Yeah.
Stop trying to cover it up.
Right.
Unless it's with Limelight by Alcon, obviously. But,
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
Oh, there's hard things in life, but we just have to keep trusting ourselves and trusting our gut to get through them.
Right. Yeah. You had said that your favorite quote is actually a scripture. So it's Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Why did you choose that as your favorite?
Because when I don't feel like I can do it by myself, there's only one person I can lean on.
Yeah.
And I mean, while I have amazing, I have a great husband, I have a great family, I have amazing friends.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just feel like like victim-y when I go talk about my struggles to them.
Yeah.
And, God put all these struggles in my way for a reason.
Sure.
And I have blazed through everything he's put me through.
Yeah.
And that's why, because he can strengthen me through anything. And you can throw mental illness at me. You can throw a new dad at me. I mean, hey, whatever.
Yeah.
I was actually reached out to yesterday through my website chat, and it was a person who had taken a 23andMe.
Oh, wow.
And it's like a cousin or something to I don't know. I was very honest with her, and I said, this is triggering a lot of feelings for me.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to pass along your information to my mom.
Right.
You can connect to her.
Sure.
But I'm not ready for this conversation. She goes,
Yeah.
I understand. I've been following your story. So
wow,
just to honor where you're at, because I was not ready to say, here's my phone number. Let's talk and meet. We're family. You live in Wisconsin, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I got to settle in on this and figure out what I need to do next.
Mm-hmm.
And through that I lean back on my faith in God, and because he put this new scenario in my life to figure out what can I do next.
Yeah.
And for now, I'm just taking a beat and letting that to the side.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you tap into that strength? Like practically speaking, what does the practice or the rhythm of your life include so that you can tap into that strength?
So every morning I wake up and I read the Bible every single day, whether it's on the Bible app, whether it's a physical Bible. My goal this year is to read the entire Bible.
Yeah.
So the Bible recap through the Bible app. Oh, so good. Because then you can even listen to it in your car.
Yeah.
Do all the things.
Yeah.
And so to honestly be practical through that, devotion, prayer, mindfulness is huge. And so if mindfulness can be a meditation, for me, it's typically listening to something that's more faith-based.
Okay. Yeah.
Every single night I read to my children. We read the Jesus Calling for kids.
Oh, yeah,
so it's those little things throughout the day. And if I'm struggling, and my car, 97.9 is always on.
Sure.
Because I think that's where I really tap into it. It's through music.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah. Music is like a huge thing for me.
Yeah.
What I put in my head.
Yes.
It really matters. And I don't know if I'm just ultra sensitive. I don't know if I'm more audibly sensitive than like the normal person. I have no idea. But what I'm listening to, I can't afford. There's this guy out in Northern California, and he says, I can't afford one thought in my mind about me that God doesn't have for me.
Yeah.
And I remember that, and because most of my self-inner dialogue is, I suck, or I'm worthless, or I'm never going to amount to, And for me, I like probably my number 1 and 2 people I compare myself to have been my siblings. You know, my sisters, like, oh, I'll never be what they are, or whatever, you know. But yeah, so that mindfulness has been really in listening to those thoughts and recognizing like, oh, that's actually not true. Turns out I don't suck as bad as I thought.
Well, and so there's the research that says you have 70,000 thoughts a day.
Yeah.
Not all of them are going to be positive, and not all of them are actually going to remember the next day.
No.
So why give them any time?
Right.
Because the ones that you really need to remember or think, God is putting in your way for a reason.
Yeah.
And you go through the hard things, and you live through hard things because he puts you there.
Yeah.
Then to rely on him. And there's a lot of people that I know. Actually, my best friend is very astrology based and sign based and all that. And it's like, cool.
Yeah.
Sagittarius, I'm bold, I'm blunt. Yeah, I already knew that.
Yeah.
Like maybe God put me at that birth time and that birthplace for a reason. Of course he did.
Yeah.
I mean, there wouldn't be the stars without him anyway. So it all goes back to your story and the calling that God has put on your life.
Yeah.
And just what are you going to do with that is the next step.
So what are you going to do, Kjiesta, in the next 2 to 5 years? What are you looking forward to?
I'm really looking forward to growing my business and really growing the mindfulness piece because I was trained this past year.
Yeah.
I went through 2 full cohorts with Mel Dahl at Mindful Healing and Consulting.
Yeah.
Because it was, I mean, I went to therapy with her.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things that I was talking about, she was like, you kind of have it together.
Yeah.
And you know what you want out of your life. You just don't have the tools to get there.
Got it.
And so it's talking about the thought processes and your thoughts. And in the training, your thoughts are compared to trains.
Yeah.
So you have a choice to get on the train or let it pass by.
Got it.
So when you have that judgy person in your life that you're like, oh, what will they think about that?
Yeah.
I'm not getting on that train today.
Yeah.
Next train comes by. Oh, that's an opportunity for me. I want to jump on that train and ride it until it's done.
Yeah.
Because it's an opportunity.
Oh, I love it.
To be out public speaking more would be a gift to me because I have a story. I'm willing to tell it.
Yep.
There's people that are even close in my life that deal with the same struggles as me.
Yeah.
They don't want to talk about it.
No. Yeah.
They kind of avoid things. And that's great. That's fine for now.
Right. Yep.
But to hit one person in the heart,
right.
To say, hey, if you're struggling right now in the seat that you're sitting in, it's okay.
Yeah.
Today's one day. Tomorrow's a new one. What are you going to do with that?
Were you and I'm just trying to take a second. I listen to too many podcasts. Honestly, I'm like, was this last week on Friday? Like, I can't, we were just both at the Goal Setting Summit.
Oh, yeah.
But, so my apologies, but there was a man in California. Were you, anyway, there's a story about this man in California and he, had lost all human interaction. And so he had
the note.
Yeah.
You heard that from JT on Friday.
Was that JT? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was like, gosh, where was that? Yeah. That he had written this note. If one person connects to me or sees me, that's what it was. If one person sees me, I won't end my life. And then that was the note that they found after he ended his life.
Yeah.
Right. And I think, I think that we forget what you're talking about. I just think really hits it. And I actually, what's weird is I heard there's this other guy, he's from, I think, Pennsylvania somewhere, Richie Seltzer. He had come to my church. And he had talked about that, about he was walking on the street and saw these two people. And for some reason, he felt like God saying, I want you to go and talk to them. I want, there's a purpose here.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes and he talks to them and he just starts saying he gets this sense about the suicidal ideation.
Yep.
And he says you are so loved, you are seen, you're valuable. And it was a couple who had agreed to do a couple, take their lives.
Like the Romeo and Juliet stuff.
Yeah, to do that. And so I think what you're speaking to, I mean, we know that the Surgeon General is talking about this isolation pandemic, and I feel like it's become so newsy that people have they're like, yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm.
But what I love you saying, and I love what you're talking about, is really, it doesn't matter if you're speaking to 1,000 people, if one person feels seen, that to you is success in your life.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, even a Facebook post.
Yeah.
If I can talk about my story, sometimes parts are shameful to me. probably shameful to my family. None of them are going to say anything to me because of who I am. I mean, like I say, I don't care what you think. I'm still going to say it anyway.
Right.
And they know that, and I guess that's respected. And if one person reads that, I mean, usually when I post things like that about my own mental story, my mental illness, I have a lot of parents reach out and say, hey, I see this in my daughter, or I see this in my son.
Yeah.
She's 13. She's 20. She's this age.
Yeah.
I would love to connect with them. Give them my blog.
Yeah.
Go to my website. Like, just read the things because that's true. And we look at isolation as a person never leaving their house.
Right. Yeah.
Or the person with their hood up walking down the street, like looking.
Yeah.
Isolation can be people like you and I.
Yeah.
Who choose to just pretend like nothing's around.
Yeah.
And we're good. We're fine. I'm going to go to Target. I'm going to get my things. I'm going to go home. I'm good, though.
Mm-hmm.
Are we good? Are we faking the good so no one checks on us?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, smile at people. Look people in the eye.
Yeah.
And stop cutting people off in traffic. Instead of giving them the middle finger, wave at them.
Yeah. My bad.
I mean, not in a sarcastic way, but just like, hey, no big deal.
Right.
Because maybe they're getting to something that's really important.
Yeah.
I mean, I always think if there's a person in front of me driving slow, there's a birthday cake in the back seat. And they can't ruin the birthday cake. Just have positive intent towards other people.
Right.
Because I think we're so rushed and in competition with others that we want to attack people or view them as the bad person.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't have to be like that.
Sometimes it's us.
Right. Yeah.
We need to slow down.
Yeah.
And then look at them in the eyes and say, hey, hi.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right. I see you.
I see you.
Yeah. So I love that so much. So on that note, how can people contact you? How can they, what are your websites or your handles, or what's the best way if something resonates today?
Yeah.
How would someone reach out to you and listen to you speak at an event, or maybe have you at an event to speak at? I know that's something that you're going to be doing more of. And so how can people reach out to you and get you on their stage or have the coffee or whatever?
It's just at Kjiesta Moch is all the things. And KjiestaMoch.com.
Yeah.
I'm just so fortunate to have a cool, very unique name because no one's going to have the handle Kjiesta. So Kjiesta Moch. And
spell it. Will you spell that?
Definitely.
Do you know how many times that I've had to just check it? Okay, yep, that's exact. Okay, got it.
Well, so people through my whole life, I mean, I played softball and it was KJ.
Yeah.
And so there we go. It's KJIESTAMOCH.
Okay.
.com.
Awesome. And then same with the social Renegade. That's on there too?
Yep. All the things are on there and everything is linked on my socials, which Kjiesta Moch, you can't miss it because I'm the only one. Yeah, I'm the only one. Oh, look at you. Awesome. Well, Kjiesta, thank you so much for being here today and for being my friend and being a part of. And we've got the She Overcomes Women's Conference coming up. Kjiesta is on our planning committee and advisory board. And so I'm just so grateful and lucky to have you. And I think we have our last week of the Becoming Bold this week.
We do.
And that's
I know.
It's the catalyst to something so much bigger. So I can't wait for the conference just to be on fire about everything. So thank you for creating everything you've done.
Oh, well, it's years. Years in the making. It's I feel like this is a year of birthing. I feel like this is a year of birthing new things. I think there's a lot of us.
Maybe metamorphosis, if you had to put a word to
Maybe
it.
Metamorphosis. Of course, it's a conference name, but I think that there's been a lot of things that people like you and I have been working on and experiencing for decades. And I feel like this is a year of fruition. I actually really want to speak that over people, but I genuinely think this is a year of birthing. And so if you're someone who's been waiting for the perfect time to launch the business, to try out for the pageant, to do the thing, I mean, this is your year.
Yeah.
Have
the hard conversation. Get through it. Do the thing.
Do the thing. You can do it. But it is a year of birthing. And I really believe that there's so many of us that have gone through really hard things, and that there is going to be something that pushes us past just I know this is so funny. I don't know where it's coming from, but it's just my belief system right now that I think it's the year. And I actually really believe that over women. I think that there's been a lot of stuff that women have looked at, and it would be really easy to say, to only cling to the negative or only cling to the narrative, that victim mindset. And I'm just sort of no, man, this is a year of powerful women stepping into themselves. Yeah. And
not feeling like you're too much for the world, because we're all a little too much sometimes. That's okay.
Yeah. And that's okay. I love that. Oh, okay. I love that. I love you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Yes. Right, Overcomer, if you have enjoyed our conversation, be sure to subscribe for more episodes and like us on the socials. We want to continue to feature leaders like Kjiesta in our community who are making just a huge impact in the one person's life and in the thousands, So thank you for that and for your vulnerability. Yes. And we want to see all women walk in their authority and power as bold leaders. You are meant to lead. Make sure, like we mentioned, save the date, March 27th, 2025 for our women's conference, Metamorphosis. And until next time, stay inspired and lead with courage and confidence in community.